What if your next shopping trip changed your life forever? Imagine pushing your cart down the aisle, picking up milk and bread, completely unaware that one of the world's most famous billionaires is about to turn your world upside down. In this video, we'll show you the moment a family's routine grocery run collided with Elon Musk's spontaneous act of generosity. Their reactions? Priceless. The aftermath? Life-altering. You won't believe what Musk had in store for them. The Johnson family's Tuesday grocery run was as routine as it gets. Sarah, a tired but cheerful mom of three, steered the squeaky shopping cart down the familiar aisles of their local supermarket. Her husband, Mike, trailed behind, his mind still on the work emails he'd left unanswered. Their kids, Emma, Liam, and little Zoe, bounced around them, alternating between boredom and bursts of energy. "Okay, gang," Sarah said, consulting her crumpled shopping list. "We need milk, bread, eggs, the usual suspects." Mike nodded absently, reaching for a box of cereal. Emma rolled her eyes, already wondering how long this trip would take. Liam was more interested in sneaking snacks into the cart, while Zoe swung from Mike's arm, singing a made-up song about bananas. As they navigated the produce section, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The store seemed busier than usual for a Tuesday afternoon. She noticed a few shoppers whispering excitedly, their eyes darting around as if searching for something or someone. But she brushed it off, focusing on finding the ripest tomatoes for tonight's pasta sauce. Mike, usually lost in his own world during these trips, picked up on the strange vibe too. "Is it just me, or are people acting weird today?" he murmured to Sarah. She shrugged, but her curiosity was piqued. Even the normally disinterested kids sensed the shift in atmosphere, their squabbles momentarily forgotten as they watched wide-eyed at the growing number of people crowding certain aisles. As the Johnsons rounded the corner to the dairy section, they nearly collided with a group of teenagers huddled around their phones, giggling and pointing at something on their screens. "No way he's actually here," one of them whispered loudly. "Who?" Liam piped up, but the teens were too engrossed to notice. Sarah's mom radar was on high alert now. This was definitely not their typical shopping experience. She exchanged a puzzled look with Mike, who seemed equally baffled. The ordinary task of choosing between skim and whole milk suddenly felt surreal, like they'd stepped into an alternate universe where grocery shopping was somehow exciting. Just as Sarah was about to suggest they hurry up and finish their list, the store's intercom crackled to life. The usual monotone announcements about special offers were replaced by a voice filled with barely contained excitement. "Attention, shoppers. We have a very special guest in our store today." The Johnsons froze, their mundane shopping trip teetering on the edge of something extraordinary. Who could possibly cause such a stir in their quiet suburban supermarket? As the voice on the intercom took a dramatic pause, the entire store seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the revelation that would turn this ordinary Tuesday into a day they'd never forget. As the intercom crackled to life, a familiar figure rounded the corner. Gasps rippled through the store as shoppers' eyes widened in disbelief. Was that really who they thought it was, casually strolling down aisle 3? Elon Musk in the flesh stood before them. The Johnson family froze, their jaws dropping in unison. Sarah blinked rapidly, convinced she was hallucinating. Mike's hand, still gripping a box of cereal, trembled slightly. The kids, usually bouncing off the walls, were suddenly statues of S. Hawk. Musk approached them with a warm smile, his laid-back demeanor a stark contrast to the surreal situation. "Hi there," he said, extending his hand to Mike. "I'm Elon. Mind if I join you for a bit of shopping?" Mike's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water before he managed to stammer, Sure? Yes, of course." Sarah, always the practical one, blurted out, "But why are you here? In our local grocery store?" Musk chuckled, his eyes twinkling with mischief. "Let's just say, I had a hunch that today's shopping trip might be a bit more exciting than usual for someone." As they spoke, a crowd began to form around them. Phones appeared from pockets and purses, capturing the unbelievable scene. Whispers turned into a low hum of excitement. The ordinary supermarket transformed into a buzzing hive of activity. Emma, the oldest Johnson child, finally found her voice. "Are you really going to Mars?" she asked, her eyes wide with wonder. "That's the plan," Musk replied, kneeling down to her level. "Maybe you'll be on one of those rockets someday. But today, I'm here for something a little different." The crowd pressed closer, hanging on every word. Even the store employees had abandoned their posts, drawn into the gravitational pull of the unexpected celebrity visit. Musk stood up, addressing the Johnsons directly. "I actually came here today with a purpose. There's something I'd like to discuss with you, if you don't mind." He gestured towards a quieter corner of the store. "Would you mind following me for a moment?" The family exchanged bewildered glances. What could Elon Musk possibly want with them? Sarah nodded slowly, her curiosity overriding her disbelief. As they moved away from the growing crowd, leaving their abandoned cart behind, the air buzzed with anticipation. Whatever was about to happen, it was clear that the Johnsons' ordinary Tuesday was about to become anything but. Musk led the Johnsons to a quiet corner of the store, past shelves of canned goods and into what looked like a storage area. The family huddled close, eyes darting between Musk and their surroundings. What they saw next left them speechless. The drab storage room had been transformed. Sleek monitors lined the walls, displaying graphs and data. A team of people in smart suits stood ready, tablets in hand. In the center stood a table with 5 chairs, a stark contrast to the utilitarian space. "I bet you're wondering what all this is about," Musk said, gesturing for the family to sit. Sarah and Mike exchanged glances, their confusion evident. The kids, for once, were quiet, overwhelmed by the surreal turn of events. Musk settled into a chair, leaning forward with his elbows on the table. "This might sound hard to believe, but we've been planning this for weeks. My team and I have been looking for the right family, and you, the Johnsons, fit the bill perfectly." Mike found his voice first. "But why us? We're nobody special." Musk's eyes twinkled. "That's exactly why. You're an average American family, facing the same challenges many others do. But you've also shown resilience, kindness, and a strong sense of community. We've been watching, and we think you're extraordinary in your ordinariness." The revelation that they'd been observed sent a shiver through Sarah. "How did you?" "We have our ways," Musk said with a wink. "Don't worry, nothing invasive. Just public records, social media, and some good old-fashioned neighborhood gossip." As Musk spoke, his team busied themselves around the room. One tapped away at a computer, while another whispered into an earpiece. The family watched, fascinated and a little unnerved. "Keeping this a secret wasn't easy," Musk continued. "We had to coordinate with the store management, set up this room overnight, and make sure word didn't leak out. Even your neighbors were in on it, keeping an eye out for when you'd make your weekly shopping trip. The pieces started falling into place for the Johnsons. The unusual busyness of the store, the whispers, the excited glances, it all made sense now. But one big question remained. "Mr. Musk," Emma piped up, her voice small but curious, "what exactly is all this for?" Musk leaned back in his chair, a smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "Well, that's the exciting part. You see, I have an offer for your family. An opportunity, really. One that could change everything." The Johnsons leaned in, hearts racing. What could Elon Musk, one of the world's richest and most innovative minds, possibly want to offer them? As Musk opened his mouth to continue, the air in the room seemed to crackle with possibility. As Musk leaned forward, his next words shattered every expectation the Johnsons had walking into that grocery store. "Your family," he said, "has been chosen for a mission that will redefine what's possible for the average American." The air in the room grew thick with anticipation as the family tried to process what they were hearing. Musk's eyes gleamed with a mix of excitement and determination. "I've been thinking a lot about how to make a real difference in people's lives," he explained. "Not just with technology, but with direct action. That's why I'm offering your family a life-changing opportunity." He paused, letting the tension build. Then, with a smile, he dropped the bombshell. "I want to give your family $10 million and no strings attached." The Johnsons' reactions were a sight to behold. Sarah's hand flew to her mouth, her eyes wide with disbelief. Mike seemed to forget how to breathe, his face a picture of shock. The kids, not fully grasping the magnitude of the offer, looked from their parents to Musk and back again, trying to understand why the adults were so stunned. "But why us?" Sarah finally managed to ask, her voice barely above a whisper. Musk leaned back, his expression softening. "Because you represent the everyday struggles and dreams of millions of Americans. This isn't just about changing your lives. It's about showing what's possible when we invest in ordinary people with extraordinary potential." He went on to explain the details. The money would be transferred to a trust, managed by financial advisors of their choosing. They'd have access to the full amount, with guidance on how to make it last and grow. "Think about it," Musk said, his voice filled with enthusiasm. "You could pay off your mortgage, fund your children's education, start that business you've always dreamed of. The possibilities are endless." The family sat in stunned silence, their minds racing to catch up with this new reality. Mike, always the practical one, was the first to voice his doubts. "This seems too good to be true," he said cautiously. "What's the catch?" Musk shook his head. "No catch. I just ask that you use this opportunity to its fullest potential. Dream big, and maybe, someday, you'll find a way to pay it forward." As the initial shock began to wear off, the enormity of the offer started to sink in. Sarah's eyes welled up with tears as she thought about the weight that would be lifted from their shoulders. Mike's mind raced with possibilities he'd never dared to consider before. The kids, picking up on their parents' emotions, began to realize that something incredible was happening. The Johnsons looked at each other, a mix of joy, disbelief, and a hint of fear in their eyes. Their lives were about to change in ways they could never have imagined. And it all started with a simple trip to the grocery store. $10 million. It's a number that can make your head spin. But for the Johnsons, It wasn't just about the money. It was about the weight of possibility, the burden of choice, and the fear of the unknown. As they looked at each other, one question hung in the air. What would you do? Sarah was the first to break the silence. This is incredible, she whispered, her voice shaking. But are we ready for this kind of responsibility? Mike nodded, his brow furrowed in thought. It's a lot to take in. What if we make the wrong decisions? Emma, always the practical one, chimed in. But think about what we could do. College wouldn't be a worry anymore. We could help Grandma with her medical bills. Liam and Zoe, still too young to fully grasp the situation, bounced with excitement at the prospect of change. The family huddled together, their voices a mix of hope and hesitation. They discussed their dreams, their fears, and the potential impact on their lives. As they talked, something shifted in the air. The initial shock gave way to a growing sense of determination. Mike took a deep breath and looked at his family. I think we should do this. It's scary, but it's also an incredible opportunity. Sarah squeezed his hand, her eyes shining with a mix of tears and excitement. You're right. We can't let fear hold us back. With newfound resolve, the Johnsons turned to Elon Musk. Sarah spoke for the family, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Mr. Musk, we accept your offer. We're ready for this new chapter in our lives. Musk's face lit up with a genuine smile. I'm thrilled to hear that, he said, reaching out to shake their hands. This is just the beginning of an amazing journey for your family. In that moment, everything changed. The ordinary grocery store transformed into a backdrop for this life-altering event. Store employees and curious onlookers gathered at a respectful distance, sensing that something extraordinary was happening. The Johnsons' abandoned shopping cart stood as a symbol of their old life, now left behind. Sarah laughed as she realized how trivial their original errand seemed now. I guess we won't be worrying about coupons anymore, she said, a hint of giddiness in her voice. As Musk's team began explaining the next steps, the family clung to each other, overwhelmed by a whirlwind of emotions. Excitement, fear, gratitude, and disbelief swirled together, creating a moment they knew they'd never forget. Looking around at the surreal scene, the crowded store, the watchful eyes, the life-changing opportunity, the Johnsons realized that nothing would ever be the same. Their simple Tuesday shopping trip had become the day their lives changed forever. And as they stood there, hand in hand, they knew they were ready to face whatever came next, together. As the Johnsons braced themselves for their new future, they didn't realize another wave of change was about to sweep through the store. What started as a private moment was about to become very, very public. How would the family handle suddenly being at the center of a growing storm of attention? The news spread like wildfire through the aisles. Hushed whispers turned into excited chatter as shoppers abandoned their carts to catch a glimpse of the commotion. Did you hear? Elon Musk is here, one woman exclaimed to her friend, her eyes wide with disbelief. And he's giving away millions to some lucky family. Store employees, caught off guard by the sudden influx of curious onlookers, scrambled to maintain order. The produce section became a makeshift gathering area as people craned their necks, hoping to spot the tech billionaire and the newly minted millionaires. I heard it's the Johnsons, an older man confided to the group around him. My grandson goes to school with their kids. Can you imagine? Ordinary folks like us, suddenly set for life. The atmosphere in the store shifted dramatically. What was once a mundane Tuesday afternoon shopping trip had transformed into an event that would be talked about for years to come. The air buzzed with excitement, speculation, and more than a little envy. As the crowd swelled, Musk's security team sprang into action. They formed a protective circle around the Johnsons, guiding them towards the exit. Musk, ever the showman, decided to address the gathering. "Today," he announced, his voice carrying over the din, "we've shown that extraordinary things can happen in the most ordinary places. The Johnsons represent the potential in all of us. This isn't just about money. It's about hope, opportunity, and the power of unexpected kindness." His words sent a ripple of emotion through the crowd. Some cheered, others wiped away tears. For a moment, everyone in that grocery store felt part of something bigger than themselves. The Johnsons, meanwhile, felt overwhelmed by the sudden attention. Sarah clutched Mike's hand, her face a mix of joy and apprehension. The kids huddled close, both excited and intimidated by the sea of faces turned their way. As they made their way to the exit, guided by Musk and his team, the reality of their new situation began to sink in. Their lives had changed in ways they couldn't yet comprehend. The simple act of buying groceries would never be the same again. Looking back at the crowd, at the familiar faces of neighbors and strangers alike, the Johnsons realized their story was no longer just their own. It had become a symbol of hope, a real-life fairy tale unfolding in aisle 5 of their local supermarket. And as they stepped out into the sunlight, they knew their journey was only just beginning. The Johnsons stepped out of the store and into a new world. Little did they know, their fairy tale was about to go viral in ways they never imagined. How would their lives change when millions of strangers suddenly knew their names? The news spread like wildfire. Within minutes, local news vans screeched into the parking lot, reporters fumbling with microphones as they raced towards the store. Curious onlookers gathered, their phones raised high, hoping to catch a glimpse of the lucky family or the tech mogul himself. Social media exploded. Musk miracle and dying Johnson jackpot started trending with people from all corners of the globe weighing in on the unexpected act of generosity. Videos of Musk's impromptu speech in the store racked up millions of views in mere hours. The Johnsons' phones buzzed incessantly. Friends, family, and long-lost acquaintances all reached out. Their messages, a mix of congratulations, disbelief, and the occasional plea for financial help. Sarah's sister called, her voice trembling with excitement. "I can't believe it. My little sister, set for life by Elon Musk himself." Musk's team, well versed in handling media storms, swung into action. They whisked the family away to a nearby hotel, shielding them from the growing crowd of reporters. A hastily arranged press conference was scheduled for the following morning. As night fell, Musk's company released a brief statement. "Today, we embarked on a new initiative to directly impact lives and inspire hope. The Johnson family represents the potential in every American. We look forward to sharing more details soon." For the Johnsons, their first taste of fame was overwhelming. Mike paced the hotel room, alternating between exhilaration and anxiety. "What do we say to all these people?" he wondered aloud. Sarah sat on the bed, comforting a overwhelmed Emma, while trying to keep Liam and Zoe from jumping on the furniture in excitement. As they flipped through channels, seeing their story on every news station, The reality of their situation began to sink in. Their ordinary lives had become extraordinary overnight. The simple trip to buy groceries had transformed into a life-altering event that captured the world's attention. Sarah turned to Mike, her eyes wide. "Do you realize what's happening? Our story, it's everywhere. We're going viral." The weight of those words hung in the air as the family huddled together, watching their past fade away, and an uncertain yet thrilling future unfold before them. Fame fades quickly, but some changes last forever. For the Johnsons, a trip to the grocery store altered the course of their lives in ways they never imagined. 6 weeks later, they faced a choice that would define their new normal. The Johnsons' modest suburban home now stood empty, a for sale sign swaying gently in the front yard. They had moved to a gated community, seeking privacy from the constant stream of curious onlookers and reporters. Sarah sighed as she unpacked another box in their spacious new kitchen. "I never thought I'd miss our old cramped countertops," she mused to Mike. Their days were filled with meetings, financial advisors, lawyers, and charity representatives, all vying for their attention. The $10 million had opened doors they never knew existed, but it also brought unexpected stress. Mike found himself constantly checking his phone, worried about missing an important call or email. "It's like having a second full-time job," he confided to Sarah one night. The kids were adjusting in their own ways. Emma threw herself into her studies with renewed vigor, her dreams of college now a certainty rather than a hope. Liam started a coding club at school, inspired by his brief encounter with Elon Musk. Even little Zoe seemed more confident, proudly telling her kindergarten class about her family's big adventure. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Old friends began to act differently around them, some becoming distant, while others suddenly wanted to reconnect. Sarah struggled with guilt, wondering if they deserved this windfall when so many others were struggling. Mike worried about raising their children with values in a world of sudden abundance. Elon Musk kept in touch, inviting the family to tour SpaceX and offering mentorship to Emma, who had expressed interest in engineering. His team also connected the Johnsons with financial experts and philanthropic advisors, helping them navigate their new reality. As the weeks passed, the Johnsons began to find their footing. They established a family foundation, focusing on education and community development in their old neighborhood. Sarah started volunteering at a local women's shelter, finding purpose in helping others. Mike, after much soul-searching, decided to quit his job and pursue his long-dormant dream of opening a small bookstore. One evening, as they sat on their new patio watching the sunset, Sarah turned to Mike. "You know, I used to think winning the lottery would solve everything," she said. "But it's not about the money. It's about the chance to redefine who we are and what matters to us." Mike nodded, squeezing her hand. "It's like we've been given a blank canvas," he replied. "It's scary, but exciting. We get to paint our own future now." As night fell, the Johnsons gathered inside for their new family tradition, a weekly meeting to discuss their goals, dreams, and how they could make a difference in the world. Their lives had changed dramatically, but their core values remained. They were still the Johnsons, just with a much bigger grocery budget and a whole lot more responsibility. While the Johnsons adjusted to their new life, Elon Musk sat in his office, staring at a photo of their first meeting. His eyes held a glimmer of something unexpected. What revelation about giving had Musk uncovered, and how would it reshape his approach to changing the world? For Musk, the grocery store surprise wasn't just a random act of kindness. It was a carefully calculated experiment in direct impact philanthropy. He'd spent years donating to large-scale projects and funding ambitious technological solutions. But this time, he wanted to see the immediate effect of his generosity on a single family. The results surprised even him. The Johnson story had touched millions, sparking conversations about wealth, opportunity, and the power of unexpected kindness. Musk found himself thinking about the ripple effects of that one decision, how a simple grocery trip had turned into a life-changing moment, not just for the Johnsons, but for everyone who heard their story. Musk's team had faced numerous challenges in pulling off the surprise. Keeping it secret, coordinating with the store, and managing the media fallout had all required careful planning. But for Musk, the biggest challenge was personal. He had to confront his own assumptions about charity and rethink his approach to giving. "I've always believed in solving big problems," Musk explained in a rare personal interview. "But watching the Johnsons' lives change reminded me that sometimes the biggest impact comes from helping one family at a time." This realization led Musk to develop a new initiative. He called it Project Ripple, a program designed to identify and support ordinary families with extraordinary potential. The idea was to create a network of families like the Johnsons, each empowered to make a difference in their communities. Musk's public image shifted subtly in the wake of the Johnson surprise. Known primarily for his bold technological vision, he now found himself being discussed in terms of his human impact. It was a change he welcomed, seeing it as an opportunity to inspire other wealthy individuals to consider more direct forms of giving. As he looked ahead to future projects, Musk felt a renewed sense of purpose. He'd seen firsthand how a single act of generosity could spark hope and change lives. It wasn't just about the money. It was about showing people that extraordinary things could happen to ordinary people. In the end, Musk reflected, our greatest innovations might not be the rockets we launch or the cars we build. They might be the lives we change, one unexpected moment at a time. From a simple grocery run to a life-altering encounter, the Johnson story reminds us how quickly everything can change. One moment, they were debating between skim and whole milk. The next, they were thrust into a whirlwind of newfound wealth and unexpected fame. Their journey from ordinary shoppers to the recipients of Elon Musk's generosity captured the world's attention and sparked conversations about kindness, opportunity, and the power of giving. As the Johnsons settled into their new reality, they faced challenges they never imagined. But they also discovered strengths they didn't know they had. Their story serves as a powerful reminder that extraordinary moments can happen in the most ordinary places. It makes us wonder, what unexpected turns might our own lives take? What hidden potential lies dormanting in each of us, waiting for the right moment to shine? In a world that often feels divided and cynical, the Johnsons' experience reignites hope. It shows us that acts of kindness, no matter how big or small, can create ripples that touch countless lives. Their story challenges us to look at the world differently, to see the extraordinary potential in everyday moments and in each other.